Hello and welcome to my short presentations. This is presentation number 3, and all presentations are designed to inform, motivate and to stimulate that grey matter. My name is Andrew Goodwin and I'm the Managing Director and co-founder of Truly Independent and the author of The Happy Financial Advisor. A lot of the content will come from my book, The Happy Financial Advisor, and there is a lot of new content and new thinking as we move into this new decade. Today's presentation is all about independence. If you look at the picture there, you'll see the Statue of Liberty, and clearly that is the visual definition of independence. If you look at the dictionary, or any dictionary for that matter, there are a number of definitions. They all point to the same thing: the freedom from the control or influence of others. But it's not just that definition of independence I'm going to talk about. Obviously, from a financial services point of view and a regulatory point of view, there is another version of independence. Let us take a look at Truly Independent's definition. We have 3 key areas. First one, freedom from control or influence of others. That is exactly the same as the dictionary definition. We are governed by our regulator and we work within the boundaries they lay out. Apart from that, we have control of the decisions we make on behalf of the firm. Then there's the freedom from ownership. I own 80% of the company. The other 20% of the company is made up of other advisors, other directors, and other retired directors. There's nobody who hasn't been involved with Truly Independent who own any of the shares. And 3, freedom to advise clients across the whole retail investment product range. Independent financial advice from the whole market, in other words. This is the definition of independence that you would be familiar with. All 3 definitions come together to make up the comprehensive definition that Truly Independent have laid out. But what is the FCA definition? Let's go back to pre and post RDR. We're talking around 2012, 13 and 14. The requirements of the rule on independent advice, the standard for independent advice, are that the personal recommendation is A, based on a comprehensive and fair analysis of the relevant market, and B, unbiased and unrestricted. I'm pretty certain that if you're a financial advisor and you're reading that or listening to this presentation now, that's what you believe is the current understanding of independence. Following RDR, in 2014, the Financial Conduct Authority published a review of independence, and had the definition of independence been taken on successfully by financial advisors at the time, following the definition that we've just highlighted. This report by Linda Smith covered the idea that majority of firms understood the new requirements around independence and were implementing the rules as the regulator intended. But she goes on to say that there was still some confusion as to what is and what is not independence. The report goes on to say that some firms are moving to restricted status as they believe it is too difficult to evidence independence, but in practice they may still be operating within the FCA's definition of independence. This is confusing, certainly confusing for the client when they're told they're following a restricted advice process which may end up being independent, or worse, they're being told it's an independent process which may end up being restricted. So we've looked at the post RDR definition 2014. This is the definition that appeared in January 2018. If a firm informs a client that it provides independent advice, as we do, the firm must assess a sufficient range of relevant products available on the market. So the word comprehensive has gone and been replaced by sufficient. These products on the market must be sufficiently diverse with regard to their type and issuers or product providers. It goes on to say, to ensure that the client's investment objectives can be suitably met, and point 3, not to be limited to relevant products issued or provided by the firm itself or other firms. Now this is very different. If you look at 3, it's not limited to products of the firm. So if a financial advice firm provides their own products, they can recommend that product but not limit them to it. That doesn't suggest comprehensive in any way. But the key change here is the objectives. Clearly, it's important to find the client's objectives and match a suitable product, which has sufficiently been assessed in the marketplace. In January 2018, the FCA Product Intervention and Product Governance Sourcebook PROD rules came into force also, alongside other MiFID II provisions. Now this is new in 2018 and works together with the new definition of independence. The purpose of PROD is to ensure that the investment products that are recommended to clients follow 3 things. They fulfill the needs of one or more identified target markets, are distributed appropriately, and deliver appropriate client outcomes. So there again, we see this idea of client outcomes, client objectives, and less about trawling the marketplace to find a product that matches the client's needs. It's about client outcomes. This is the shift. However, it's estimated today that less than 5% of firms in the UK are actually complying with PROD rules, and this figure may even be as low as 1%, although there are movements in that direction of improvement. So PROD rules are all about understanding the target market. Who are the products for? And if you know who the product is for, then you tailor your advice to find the right product for the client, to match the two together. So PROD governance rules are intended to ensure products are distributed to and meet the needs of the appropriate target market. Let's have a look at the target market. A target market is a type of client for which each financial instrument or product was designed for and distributed to. So if there's a product, who was it designed for? Who is that product aimed at? So rather than find a client and then match a product, think about the product itself and look for clients that match the product. It's a twist, a different way of looking at it. A product is an investment product, a financial instrument in FCA glossary terms, including mutual funds, structured deposits, etc., rather than a tax wrapper or the platform itself. And it's very important that firms must have thought about their clients, identified their target markets, and have appropriate governance and distribution strategy in place for their target markets. You may be familiar with this term, client segmentation. This has come about in the last couple of years, probably following the announcement and launch of PROD rules and also the revised definition of independence. But let's not get confused here. Client segmentation is not what I think some IFAs believe is the separation of clients into different categories with a view to get rid of a load because they're not profitable, and therefore focusing only on profitable clients. That is not what client segmentation is about. It is about recognizing the differences between different segments of clients, their differing needs, and how best a financial advice firm should support these. That's at the heart of client segmentation. And if you are a firm in particular who are launching your own products, maybe your own platform, maybe your own funds, maybe your own portfolios, then it's important that you follow the PROD rules as well as the new independent rules if that's what you're promoting. For example, the key elements of the proposition around service, financial planning, and investment management can be tailored. If you have a client who doesn't have a lot of savings, they're in their early 20s and they're just starting their professional career, then obviously a long-term savings plan to build up their wealth is the type of tailored market that they're in. Whereas someone in their 60s is in the opposite direction. They're looking to draw down on their savings. Therefore, they're in a different market as well. So you know instinctively, if you identify the type of market a client is in, then the type of product that they would be suited to. So the old definition of going out and finding a client, searching the whole marketplace for a product for them, which may then be repeated the next client and so on and so forth, is a pointless and inefficient exercise if each of those clients are in a particular category of client. They may all be 20 in the same firm doing the same thing, wanting to build wealth, and yet why on each occasion should you show that you are looking at the whole marketplace? It seems a pointless, inefficient use of time. So client segmentation is about identifying that all those clients come from that category, and you could effectively say, we have a product ideal for you. This involves compliance, doing a very thorough investigation into the due diligence of products that they can recommend, whether they're third party or internally on their own, and come up with a comprehensive proposition that tailors accordingly to that target market. And of course, it's important that compliance makes sure that everyone who's providing advice in the firm are aware of the target markets and how the firm will deal with these clients in these target markets. And of course, they must review the comprehensive investment propositions that they promote on a regular basis to make sure it's consistent with the market and the market's needs, because they may change. And of course, it's important to keep good written records of the process. That's initial advice, and more importantly, and I can't stress this enough, ongoing advice. Our ongoing advice at Truly Independent is called value proposition, and because of this important process, our advisors get a little bit extra for ensuring that their ongoing support and the written records of their ongoing support is evident. So what does this all mean? Put simply, a firm needs to be able to say, if asked by the FCA, for example, this is our target market, and we've designed our investment solutions, platform selections, and services in this way in order to work for that target market. And an advice process is built around that target market. And that's exactly what we've done at Truly Independent. Last year, we started the Affinity Project. Affinity is a term we used internally inside the company. Truly Independent is our headline and marketing business. It's what the client understands. Affinity is what we do inside, working together, all together, Truly Independent. We've produced this 29-page document outlining our due diligence regarding prod rules, independence ideals, and the inner advice process at Truly Independent. And I'll be presenting this Affinity Project in another short presentation at some time in the future. Look out for that one. The next presentation is going to be about succession, in particular, how to prepare for succession. We've covered the first three things: an introduction to Truly Independent. The next 10 years is about unitization and firms developing their own products, and how that all works with the new regulation around independence and prod rules. Now we need to think about what I would class as starting with the end in mind. We're just at the very beginning. Start with the end in mind. Succession is where we want to be. That's when you retire, you sell your business to somebody else, you go off and drink your pina colada, but you need to know how to get there. That's the end point. That's the outcome. Just like you're trying to achieve a client outcome, you need an outcome for your own business. So next week we will start at succession and then build towards it. So join me next week and join me on a truly independent journey. Thank you. For more information, go to happyfinancialadvisors.co.uk, subscribe to YouTube channel, or you can of course buy the book from Amazon.